Hi and welcome. I'm Rob Scott from UC Today News, and in this session I'm talking to Mark Bunnell, Chief Operating Officer from Nuwave, and today we're going to be discussing the growing demand for multi-UCaaS and mobility solutions and how partners can take advantage of these rising trends in the UC industry. Welcome, Mark. How's it going?
That's going great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you again. Really interested in today's session. Always keen to kind of uncover new trends and hear what's happening within the likes of the Nuwave network. So first of all, Mark, I mean, multi-vendor UCaaS integration is on the rise. What exactly does that mean, and why is it happening?
Well, you have a couple of different things going on. I mean, multi-UC is so if you want to have the ability to control in one place, Teams, Zoom, and WebEx, from a customer perspective, large enterprise, that's one aspect. And then the other is from a carrier perspective in service delivery. You want to, as a carrier, an operator, be able to provide, your own voice and be able to mix and match and do those different things. But you also, want to be future proof. You don't want a system that only provisions one of the big three. You want to be able to provide your voice across any UC platform that's out there. So being able to have Teams and Zoom and WebEx in one place is pretty critical for being future proofed in your service offering.
Yeah, and I can imagine having multiple UC platforms in your house, especially the big ones like what you have at Nuwave, can be rather complex. So to manage. How are you positioned at Nuwave to kind of tackle those problems and ultimately helping provide those solutions?
Yeah, I mean, it's really about providing the right customer experience and the right user interface kind of all rolled up in one to have all the choices and not have to worry about, the training aspects of it. You want to be able to provision Teams and Zoom and Cisco the same way, having the same screens, the same flow. And so there's a lot of complexity behind the scenes in how those three systems are accessed. But what we've done is we've taken all of that complexity and kind of put it behind the scenes where you can't really see it so that, no matter what, the journey is the same. So I can do all of it in the exact same way that, one or the other is. And so from getting to market quickly, the training aspects of it, usability, all of that is super simple on the customer facing side.
Fantastic. And Mark, I'm presuming over the last few months you're picking up on this trend. What kind of use cases, what experience have you had that's really driving this momentum?
Well, I mean, again, because we do multifaceted, approaches, and our customer base is very dynamic. I can kind of take that in two different trends that we're seeing. So if you look at it from a carrier operator perspective or a partner, right? They want to be able to be future proof. They want to be able to deliver across, the different UCaaS platforms that exist. And so obviously, you're going to have some customers that want Teams or Zoom or WebEx, and you want to be able to, as an operator, pivot from each one and say, great, it doesn't really matter to us which platform that you want. We're going to still provide our voice to those systems. And so that way they can just swivel chair, right over and say, I'm going to provision this or I'm going to provision that. And so we're seeing that across the board. Every operator has to have all three of these in their offering to be relevant. And that's what we're providing, is that future proof of any system that they want to come into, not just these three, but others to come in the future as well. From a customer perspective, we're seeing this all the time now. And it's really interesting, especially for large enterprise, because we have a customer that may have Teams, and they may, through the pandemic, got a bunch of Zoom, video conference licenses, and then they go acquire a company, and that company's on WebEx. And so instead of having to figure out before they get set up and be able to manage them and say, I want to, consolidate on this one platform before I move over, they get to have all three in the same customer interface, and they get to move those users between different systems within iPilot. We have all those move tools, and we can even combine all three platforms into one phone system. So if your user base says, I want to have Teams or I want to have WebEx, that's fine. They can stay on those, and we'll combine them into one phone system to provide extra functionality. So that's been pretty key. The one final point that I'll mention is I was talking to a very large enterprise multinational, and they also mentioned something I've never really heard before, was that the new people that are coming in, that they're hiring to run these systems and the staff, they're younger folks, right? And they don't have necessarily the old TDM background and voice and things like that. And they're used to administering things in a portal and having a piece of software that has the same kind of provisioning perspective from training. And so without having that knowledge of 30 years ago for TDM and whatnot for voice, it makes it super simple for the new generation of people that are coming through and running these systems and managing these voice networks to use a product like Pilot to be able to, have that capability to manage it moving forward.
Yeah, that is a really interesting trend, isn't it? And I'm keen to jump onto the next one as well, but we'll probably jump back and forth a little bit. But I'm hearing the appetite for unified UCaaS and mobility solutions is also growing fast. Mm-hmm. So what's Nuwave's strategy to enhance user experience across its chosen UC platforms?
Well, the great thing is that once you have this, great foundation that we've laid, then you can just build a skyscraper on top of it. And so mobility becomes, that piece of that penthouse, so to speak, of our skyscraper. And so, with that, bringing MNOs into the network, being able to, provision, Teams Phone Mobile or WebEx One or any of the other FMC type products that are out there. The good benefit is that you get to utilize all of them and you get to route them to the UC platform of your choosing. And then you'll also have the ability from a multinational perspective is that no one company just has one mobile provider globally. And so to be able to mix and match the different mobile providers that fit to your business is going to be key, in the future.
That's equally really interesting. And, from a unified experience, I mean, I know Microsoft and Cisco WebEx are putting a lot of investment in this. Could you just explain kind of what the big opportunity is, and what the challenge ultimately is being solved here for the end customer?
Well, again, it's about a really simple user experience, and to be able to not only provision regular landline voice and such that we've been doing, but to be able to layer on top of that the mobility strategy so that it's the same across the entire estate for the end user customer. When we look at the traffic today, 65% plus of all the voice out there is around mobile traffic. And if you go to some of the emerging countries, sometimes that's up to 100. They didn't lay the same fiber and infrastructure for voice, on a landline basis. And so it's a mobile first setup in most other countries. So when you couple that kind of opportunity, then that warrants a big investment by these companies to have an FMC, kind of strategy. And for us, it's about making sure that it doesn't matter, what kind of voice it is, if it's a landline or application or mobile, phone or any of that, you still have to be able to control all of the different voice types in a unified portal that truly gets you to bring your own carrier, bring your own voice, bring your own application, and make it super simple to digest and provision and consume. And that's exactly what we've done.
Great. And I know FMC's been around for a long time, Mark, but this kind of solution, I mean, with Microsoft backing it, WebEx backing it, do you think it's going to be big in 2024?
I think that we're finally at a place with the technology and the portals and all the different systems are finally ready to roll it out. And it's been conceived of for a long time. But I think that it just wasn't the right point in history for any of that to work in the type of experience that people demand today. And it's really exciting just because we're finally here. I think that you'll start to see over the next few years that really gets some acceleration, and we're poised to be the accelerant to that, and making it sure that it gets rolled out correctly and efficiently, and that the experience is second to none.
Yeah, and just in terms of partner experience here, onboarding partners, helping them to increase their revenues and simplify operations. How are you helping them do that?
Well, that's exactly what we do. I mean, anyone who's seen previous videos or have gotten through to go through and actually test the system and use it. I mean, iPilot's been around for 7 years in the market, so we're an engineering first company. We just talk about it, when things are working, and so a lot of our partners have been able to make their process more efficient. They get to turn customers up in minutes. They get to consume services on demand. And so they get to really, again, streamline their operations into the point where there's no swivel chairs. One person can take a customer from zero, no account at all, to making test calls, and then layer on top of it all the other functionality and services that we have. And so it doesn't have to go to 10 different departments. So obviously, if your data entry folks are able to take it through the complete life cycle, that saves the operator a ton of cash. It provides a way better experience for the end user customers, to be able to consume services and get things now. And I think that's just, where things need to go. It needs to be efficient. It needs to be completely different and transformative. And so we're developing a completely new way to consume telecommunications and voice on demand and right now. And that's going to future proof most operators, from other technologies that may be disrupted later.
Yeah, and that has to be the goal in the year ahead, doesn't it? So, making these operations as smooth as possible, and automate what we can, whilst ultimately offering a fantastic customer experience. So, in terms of finding out more, Mark, what's the best way for partners to get, or partners or anyone out there looking to get in touch with Nuwave?
Yeah, you hit our website. We have a partner sign up, and sales@nuwave.com is always a good place, and we'll be happy to reach out to you right away and show you what we can do.
Fantastic. Thanks for taking me through all those trends. It's really interesting stuff. But I'm afraid that's all we got time for today. Mark, it's been great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you've got some good takeaways from today's session, do give us a quick mention on social and subscribe to our channel for more industry news and insights. I'm Rob Scott from UC Today. Thanks for watching.